Spirit. Give God a hand. Have a seat for just a second, then we'll call you up again. I got to tell you, for a men's session to be geared around the topic of friendship is maybe a little startling for some of us. We've come in with some preconceived notions about like what a men's session's supposed to be about or what I've heard before, and all that stuff is good and true and holy. But I believe that to come back to this foundational issue of friendship, which I believe we're going to have to reclaim for our culture, amen, is extremely important right now and really timely. So we're going to talk about that, but I got to tell you, it's really fitting to have my buddy Alob here with me on the conference. You know, they do these conferences all over the country, and they tell us, even when you live in Houston, you're going to try and get to Boston in one day. A little more about that tonight, but you don't know everybody, you know, from around the country, but when you get to work with some of your friends that are doing this on the road too, like my good friend Alob, fitting to start a topic of friendship at a men's session with him. So thanks Alob, thanks band for leading us in worship. So, a little bit about myself. I'm from Houston, so if I say y'all, like you can giggle if you want. If I say all y'all, you can like shame me if you want. Those things just come out, you know. I'm still trying to figure out, is it you guys? Is it, what is it up here? Tell me. Who likes y'all? Who likes y'all? Good. There's my y'all friends. Okay, we'll use that. We'll use that. I work at a parish in Houston, a really large parish, 10,000 families. It's like a village or a city. Yeah, everything in Texas is super big. But I also have a hobby. I like to CrossFit. And it's hard to do on the road, right? Because like at the hotel gym, there's like 3 dumbbells and a treadmill. So what's a CrossFitter to do when he gets to the gym in the hotel but 100 burpees for time? And what are we going to do as men after lunch? You've been sitting there, now your food's a little digested, but you're super sleepy. I think we should have a burpee contest. Now, some of you are like, I'm not doing it. That's good because you don't have to. I need a couple quick teams here, okay? So what I need you to think about, you're going to have a minute and a half with you and your partner, friendship, remember? You and your partner to do as many burpees as you can in a minute and a half. Now, I'm going to take 2 sets from the teens, like 2 teams from the teens, and let's see if there's not an adult team that wants to come up and give it a shot. Okay, so talk it over first, and once you have the buy-in of your friend, and if you like, what's a burpee, probably don't volunteer for it, okay? All right, don't come down here, because that would be too many people. I'm going to have to call on you. Don't come down. Don't come down. I'm going to call on you. I know how this works. It's like a stage rush, okay? So I need 2 teenage teams and 1 adult team. So let's start with our adult team. Is the adult team formed? Okay, yellow shirts, come on. Wow. The adults were actually going to stage rush. That's cool. Okay, adults. Okay, I need 2 teenage teams. I saw you guys first in the front row. White shirts with the Sacred Heart on them. That's it. Okay, come on, you guys come up. You get them. 3 teams. Okay, hurry on up. Don't trip over any cords. Don't break any people in half. Okay. Wow, this is the adult. Are you sure? Okay. Okay, y'all stay here, adults. Okay? Y'all are here. Y'all are here. And y'all. Okay, that's good. I don't need any more. I got all my teams, right? Yeah. I already got all my teams, y'all. Yeah, they're saying they're adults. Staff shirts right there. 2 more, come on. Come on up. Okay, so here's how this works. You're going to have a minute and a half, okay, between the 2 of you to do as many burpees as you can. Now, if one of you's like, man, I'm going to go for a minute and a half, great, but I caution you. Lean on your brother. You're probably going to just spread out a little bit here, okay? So only one of you in a partnership is working at a time. The other, you're counting. And when he jumps up after like 2, okay, so then you take up 3, okay? And then when you're done, you say 4, okay? And then you know whatever the number is, okay? Do you got it? You understand how it's going to work? Okay. So I think they might have a clock for you. So we're going to start a clock. You know what a burpee is, right? That's a burpee. It's not a push-up. It's kind of a fall on the ground, but chest to the ground, okay? Chest to the ground, clap overhead. Chest to the ground, clap overhead. One person's moving at a time, okay? The other's counting, and then you pick up when he's done. So I'll give you 15 seconds to decide how you're going to attack this. Now, you guys need to help us cheer them on, support them, cheer for your team. Bet's on you guys. Okay. 1.5 minutes. In 3, 2, 1, go. Come on. 1 minute left. 1 minute.
Rising up, back on the street. Did my time, took my chances. Went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his will to
30
survive.
seconds. 30 seconds. Come on, every burpee counts. Every burpee counts. Come on. Don't give up. Let your partner help you. 20 seconds.
Don't lose your grip on the dreams of the past. You must fight just to
Come on.
keep them alive.
10 seconds. Come on, 10 seconds.
Rising up to the challenge of our rival.
3, 2, 1. Time. Woo. I don't know about you guys, but I broke a sweat watching. Okay, the moment of truth. Okay, no cheating, but if you cheated, there's confession later. Okay, no truth like the moment now you're going to share. So only the truth. How many did you guys get done?
47.
47. How many did you guys get done?
33.
33.
45.
45. 33. 41. 44. The adults win. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Good. Wow. Man, I should have had y'all do my burpees for me this morning. You know, burpees are a lot easier when you have a friend, and so is life. I mean, how many of you are here with a good friend this weekend? How many of you can't wait to get home to tell a good friend about how amazing this was so they'll come back with you? You know, just to put this in perspective, the first thing Jesus did when he arrived on the scene, right? He gets baptized, he spends some time in the desert, he shows back up, and what is the first thing Jesus tends to? He doesn't start healing people, he doesn't start performing miracles, unless you consider the friends he called to be around himself was a miracle. But he called friends, he started gathering his bros around him. Even John the Baptist, like when he sees Jesus, he encourages his followers to befriend Jesus and to follow Jesus. and they actually leave John the Baptist. I'm sure they were still friends, but they left John the Baptist and followed Jesus. And they asked Jesus things like, where do you stay? What are you doing? And he said, come and see. He invited them along. And for 3 years, he poured into his friends because those friends were going to pour into others and change the world. We wouldn't be at a Steubenville conference in 2019 if it was not for Jesus calling friends together. And we love these great epic stories of friendship. Yeah, we like the romantic stuff too, but the friendship, the like brother stories, we love them. One of my favorites to see how this friendship started, and it called them out deeper. It called them beyond their circumstances, not just to be the kind of friend that hangs out with each other, but to go into life intentionally on purpose, was Sam and Frodo from Lord of the Rings. But we have a lead witness here today. His name's Elijah, and actually sitting over here. I should have had Elijah do the burpee contest, but then he wouldn't be able to talk. So we have a lead witness, and Elijah was here with his friend Cole, like his brother over here sitting with him. And I just found out that Cole went on lead last year. And Cole's here supporting his brother, Elijah, like brother from another mother, Elijah. And Elijah's going to share with you about a moment he had in his spiritual walk that had to do with friendship. So help me welcome Elijah to the stage.
Hello, my name is Elijah, and I'm from St. Philip Parish in Smithfield, Rhode Island. So I'm going to share with you a time that God showed me his love and called me back to him and my holy friendships. So I've always been very involved with my church. I'm on the leadership team. I have a lot of friends there. But a few months ago, I just slipped away. I was in a deep cycle of sin, and I just avoided those people. I didn't text them. I avoided youth group. I said I had like school stuff to do. I had other stuff, but if I'm being honest, I just didn't want to go, and I didn't want to see those people. I felt guilty, and like I was doing wrong to them. And during this time, I started to slip into bad friendships at school that weren't bringing me closer to Christ and allowing me to be a man of God. So I had to go back from the leadership team. So I remember going to the sacristy before Mass and just feeling out of place. I didn't feel that same connection with those people because I had pushed them away. Even though they didn't really realize I had, but under the radar, I had pushed them out of my life. So I didn't have to feel like responsible for what I was doing. So that night we had youth group, and I just felt sick. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to go home. It even got to the point where I was like, I asked my priest, I'm like, can I just go home tonight? But he knew I was struggling. He's like, just stay. So that night we had adoration, and since I didn't have those friendships, I was sitting by myself in the side of the church, just praying. So then the priest processed the monstrance towards me. And I was just like, please stop. Let me look at Jesus. So he stopped right above me, and I just was able to look face to face with Christ. And that really reminded me of his love and how much he loves me, despite of the place that I was in. And I also remembered all those people that pushed me to grow closer to him and realized I needed to get back and talk to those people. So we already mentioned Cole. So that night, Cole actually went and sat down and talked to me that night. I don't think he really realized what was going on. But he just went, and we started, from that point, I was just able to start rebuilding those friendships and growing in virtue through those men. So now I pray with them every day. There's a group of us that say the rosary together and go to Mass. At the same time, we'll like work out together and mess around. So it's just a really great group of guys that keeps pushing me closer to Christ. So my challenge to you is to build friendships in the church that help you grow closer to Christ. I also encourage you to really look at Jesus tonight in the Eucharist. Thank you.
Good job. Thanks, Elijah. Thanks, Cole, for being his friend. So, see if you remember this moment from Lord of the Rings when they first left the Shire and Sam realized he was about to go beyond where he had ever been before.
This is it. This is what? If I take one more step, it'll be the farthest away from home I've ever been. Come on, Sam. Remember what Bilbo used to say? It's a dangerous business,
Frodo, going out your door, you step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to.
From the book of Sirach. A faithful friend is a sturdy shelter. He who finds one finds a treasure. A faithful friend is beyond price, and no scales can measure his worth. A faithful friend is a life-saving remedy, and those who fear the Lord will find him. Young church, do you have a friend like that in your life? Do you have someone in your life that this is an example of? And you look through and it says things like sturdy shelter and treasure, beyond price, life-saving remedy. Or is your friendship like, well, we like play football together. Well, we like go out on the weekends. Well, we text. I follow him on social media. That's a start. But do you have a friend like this? Do you have a friend like Samwise? Do you have a friend like Elijah has Cole? Because I believe, young church, that if we can reclaim friendship, we can reorient our trajectory. I believe if we can reclaim friendship, we can reorient our trajectory. We can begin to make friends that are lifelong and supportive, that will help us when we get stuck in those situations where we're not sure what to do. They can be the voice of reason in our lives. And I love what C.S. Lewis did when he talked about the four loves. See, C.S. Lewis was an atheist turned Christian. Of course, we know him as the great writers of Chronicles of Narnia and others, right? But one of his works is on the four loves. And he has these four loves. You see them on the screen here. These four loves. And I think what happens to us is we get them confused today in our culture. We believe everything somehow ties back to eros, this like romantic love. There isn't one on here for like how much you love pizza or ice cream, but I could probably argue that there should be one for ice cream or coffee. But the first one, storge, this is family, like how you love your family, your parents, your siblings. Like you didn't get to choose them, most of us, right? Maybe there's some way you have to choose them back and love them back, but you didn't get to choose them. They're your family, and you love them one way. And then there's philia. This is the brotherly friendship love that we need to reclaim. And then we have eros, which is that romantic love, and then we have agape, which is how we love God. But we use the love for the same, like all of this, right? Like I love pizza, I love God, I love my girlfriend, I love my parents, I love my brother. We use it for all of them. And I believe that the key to us reclaiming friendship is in this philia world, where we don't get them confused. Like for me to have a deep relationship with a brother, for me to have a healthy friendship, a brother friendship, like Sam and Frodo had. So let's go back even further than C.S. Lewis. Let's go all the way back to Aristotle. 2,000 years before C.S. Lewis, he was a great Greek philosopher, and he talked about three friendships: utility, pleasure, and excellence. Utility is where you have some use for the other person. Doesn't necessarily mean you're using them, but how many of you have ever had a friend in your life that's helped you with your homework, or helped you with a paper or a test, or helped you maybe get out of trouble, right? So we have friends in our life that are useful. And then we have friends that we have pleasure from. Maybe we play on the same sport team. Like, we really not just need them on my team, but I like going, I like playing with him, I like hanging out with him, I like spending time with him on the weekends. And then there's this deeper level that Aristotle talks about, which is excellence. And this is where C.S. Lewis and Aristotle agree. The philia love that C.S. Lewis talked about is embedded in this excellent type of friendship that we're all striving for. See, excellence is about shared virtue. You're willing the good of the other. Sacrificial love, does that sound familiar? A lot of times we attach that just to like the person we're gonna give our life to in marriage. This should be about our friendships too. Would you lay your life down for your friend? Would you get beyond just using them or them being useful to you or just enjoying their company? Can you move beyond a text message to some time you would actually hang out together? Can you share your heart with them, the things you're struggling with? Or do you keep that all locked up inside and just share the great stuff that we see on Instagram? See, for me in my life, let me tell you about my friendships in high school. I was an extrovert in high school. Now, ironically, my wife is the only introvert in our whole house. I have 4 children, and they are all extremely extroverted, and my wife has an extroverted husband. She's the only introvert in the house. She's going straight to heaven. But see, in high school, I was an extrovert, so I had lots of friends, but what I started to notice about all these friends was it was mostly like utility and pleasure for me. Like, okay, here's an admission. When I would go to lunch at school, I would not be the first person to sit down in the chair at an empty table. I was that insecure about being by myself or being alone. I would walk around until more guys sat at the table, and then I'd show up at the table. And this is because I saw that as like them being useful to me, them being being safe in the crowd. I was not safe enough by myself to sit down there and wait for other people. So most of my friendships in high school were about utility and pleasure. And here's the confusion I got into. I turned to girls to share my heart. That's where I showed my vulnerability. And I craved to be vulnerable. I craved to be authentic. I really did. But I saved all of that for my girl friends, who often became like my girlfriends for the day or for the week or whatever. Like, I was using the Eros kind of love and kind of confusing all of this. And it was harming my friendships with other guys. And I would say when I left high school, I didn't leave with this like stack of really close friends that I stay in touch with today. Now, some of them I keep up with on like social media, right? Like we have some common interests, or when I see them at a reunion or a party or something. But it wasn't until I transitioned out of high school and started going to college that this started to change for me. And I had a really good friend at that time named Adam. And Adam was that transition from high school to college. I knew him in high school. He was a stud basketball player in our district. And he had some offers to go play on college scholarship. But he went to Texas A&M with me down in Texas. And he was a Mormon. And of course, I was Catholic. And you thought like, wow, that's going to be interesting. I learned so much from him about family values, regular prayer, and commitment to the moral life from him, living with him that one year. I would see him on his knees in the dorm room at night praying, like beside his bed, and I thought that was like a outdated kind of thing, like who kneels beside their bed and prays like, says their prayers. I started doing it. It was great this year, and then he went on his mission. I was so sad when he left A&M and went on his mission, because we couldn't live together. And he was that, finally I had one of those friends that was walking into that excellent type of friendship. And then in college a little later, I found a friend named Chris, and I lived with him for a few years. And he showed me what it was like, because he was Catholic too, to share the same faith and to live it out and to treat our friends and the other girls around us with a virtue. We held each other accountable. He was the first person that I held accountable, and he held me accountable. We were really honest. We shared our hearts. And it was interesting for me to do that with another guy, to share my heart in this brotherly way. And then finally now I've got a good friend named David. He's 6'8". So we look really weird when we're hanging out. I'm not 6'8". But he is another one of these guys, like we Marco Polo. I love this little app, this Marco Polo app. This isn't like a promotion for Marco Polo. But like, we'll pray for each other on Marco Polo and we're sending each other messages. Now I send silly stuff too and talk in the weird voices, but like, we'll pray with each other. And the Marco Polo app, that's one thing I'd say about a lot of the folks that are doing Steubenville conferences. As we get to know each other and form teams on these weekends, we stay in touch throughout the year. Do you have somebody like that in your life? Where we see it for Sam and Frodo go beyond just leaving the Shire together to go on an adventure, and it turns into a life-saving remedy. Their friendship became life-saving, and we saw that unfold. One of my favorite clips from the movie, from the trilogy, is this moment where Frodo tries to march off on his own because he realizes what he's carrying is too grave for anyone else to commit to. And Sam says, "No way, brother." And here's what that looks like in the video.
Not alone! Frodo! Mr. Frodo!
No, Sam.
Go back, Sam! I'm going to Mordor alone.
Of course you are! And I'm coming with you!
You can't swim! Sam! Sam! I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. A promise. Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee. And I don't mean to. I don't mean to.
Oh, Sam.
Come on.
Now, I think Sam is a good friend, but he's also kind of stupid, right? I mean, if you can't swim, don't jump in the water. But Frodo didn't spend any time picking on his friend or telling him he was stupid. He just loved him. I want to give you guys kind of a roadmap, though. Like, it's easy to come to a conference and be inspired, like, yeah, friends, yeah, my best friend, oh, this is awesome. But when you go home, sometimes like, well, so how do I do that? Like, you need some practical things, like some ideas, some jumping off points. And I want to give you a list of those. I think these are like the qualities of friendship. Certain levels of friendship, if you will. To regain what we've lost in our culture, what C.S. Lewis and Aristotle were talking about. So these are kind of some levels of friendship. I believe the first level is honesty. Like, how many times, like, are we friendly to somebody, but then when they leave, they're like, yeah, that guy's lame. Or you're not honest with them, you don't share them, like, how you feel. How you doing? Oh, I'm good, but inside you're just kind of crushed, or sad, or broken. Honesty is the first step. This is about being vulnerable beyond a text message. I want to challenge you the next time you feel like sharing something with your friend, and you don't have to do this every time because it'd be hard to do this, but every time you text one of your friends, think about, like, should we get together and talk about this? Eyeball to eyeball. Being vulnerable together. First step, honest friendship. Second step, true brother. This is the accountability piece. This is what I figured out in college with my roommate, Chris. That he would actually tell me the things he was struggling with. Have you ever told a friend that you've struggled with pornography? Have you ever told a friend that you're struggling with your identity? Have you ever shared with a friend that you're having problems at home? Have you ever shared with a friend the brokenness that you have? This doesn't mean you tweet it or share it with everybody, but do you have that friend that you can be a true brother to and you can let them be a true brother to you? This is like positive peer pressure. If you want to know what accountability is, it's positive peer pressure. When's the last time you were peer pressuring one of your friends positively? Go to Mass. Come to youth group. Let's hang out at my house instead of that party this weekend if that party is going to be a wreck. And then spiritual soldier. And the reason I use that language, spiritual soldier, is because it reminds me of sacrificing for the good of another. What do our troops do when they go into battle? If one of their men is down, what do? They help him. They get him out. No man left. No man left. No man left behind. That's what it means to be a spiritual soldier for your brother, is to sacrifice for the good of them. This isn't about going to war. This is about doing battle in your schools and in your houses. Do you have that brother that seeks your good beyond pleasure and utility? And do you seek their good? And then finally, a prayer warrior. This is when it has a foundation in Christ. You can do honest friend, true brother, and actually spiritual soldier, the way I've laid these out, without ever having to specifically pray together or even for them. And maybe some of you, let's just take a poll here. How many of you have a non-Christian friend in your life? I mean, keep your hands up and look around. Like, we showed up in a little Catholic bubble this weekend, but the worlds you're all going back to, if you look around, we're going back to a world that has a lot of people that don't believe what we do, and we can still be friends with them. This doesn't just have to be at this conference. This needs to work back home. So a prayer warrior, even for a non-believer, means can you pray for them? Can you seek their good? And maybe you're going to have those opportunities. You probably will. To share your faith. And sometimes the best way to share your faith, and you're going to learn that a lot this weekend, is about just sharing your story. Hey, I went on this conference this weekend, and this happened, or I experienced this, or I prayed that, or I feel this way. You're going to have a chance to share that. And when you finally claim all four of those, when you've inserted Christ into the relationship, and if you can pray together, your friendship will be more than just a moment in time. It will be eternal. It will last forever. Final clip I want to show you guys is what Sam and Frodo set out to do. They set out to destroy the ring and save the world. Kind of a tall order for two little hobbits. But check out this clip. When we hear Sam finally say to Frodo, I can't carry it, but I can carry you.
Do you remember the Shire, Mr. Frodo? It'll be spring soon. The orchards will be in blossom, and the birds will be nesting in the hazel thicket. And they'll be sowing the summer barley in the lower fields. And eating the first of the strawberries with cream. Do you remember the taste of strawberries?
No, Sam. I can't recall the taste of food. No, the sound of water. The touch of grass. I'm naked in the dark. There's nothing, no veil between me and the wheel of fire. I can see him with my waking eyes.
Then let us be rid of it. Once and for all. Come on, Mr. Frodo. I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. Come on!
And let's not forget, Sam and Frodo modeled that for us, but Jesus laid this out for us. Jesus Christ showed us what it's like to have good friends, and they saved the world because they spread the message of Jesus Christ. And we're at a Steubenville Conference because Jesus came, did what he did, and handed it on to his friends. Amen? Yeah. So here's what I want to do. I mean, we're here together. I think we need to pray together. I think we need to be encouraged as brothers. And here's how I'd like to do this. I know when you partner up for prayer, sometimes maybe somebody gets left out. And anytime you're going to make groups, somebody can get left out. But here's what I want to say. I'm going to have us pray in threes. And the reason is because that way, if you're not here with like your really close friend, which is okay to pray with someone that's not your really close friend, then partnering up sometimes feels a little too like, I'm not quite ready. But threes, sometimes there's a safety together. And if you are really close friends together, that third person can actually be somebody that you're supporting. That can be somebody that's learning from your friendship what it looks like to have that kind of authentic friendship. And so what we're going to do here in just a second is I'm going to have you guys get into threes. And adults, before you break up, and I'd like you adults to pray with them too, or pray, if there's three of y'all in your group, or become one of the three in their groups. Make sure nobody in your group's getting left out. If it ends up being twos, if it needs to be twos instead of threes, or there is an extra person, that's fine. Just make sure everybody is included in this. Because if your best friend's not here, you're going to have a best friend one day. And I want you to be encouraged during this time to pray together. So go ahead right now, just for a second. I don't want you to like say my friends on the other side of the room, but get into groups of threes. And adults, if you could just help me make sure nobody gets left out of this. Go. And if you're in four, I'm going to have you go ahead and split into twos. Sorry, I know I just said not to do that, but in the interest of time, otherwise somebody's not going to get prayed with. And not everyone's going to have a chance to pray. You could still stand close together with the other two if that makes you feel better. Try and stay in threes and then do twos only. Is anybody left out? Y'all are awesome. Now, I want you, when you have your three, or however you're set up, stand up where you are and try and get to where you're kind of like face to face, not, there you go. You know what that looks like. Or you can, be weird about it, it's fine, that's cool. That's great, I like that. Literally face to face, my children would have done that. Now, some of you right now are getting anxious, like I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. So I want to lay it out. I'm going to keep time for you. I'm going to give you each about a minute and a half. That's all, okay? A minute and a half. But what I want you to do is the first person's going to share with the other person something they need prayer for around friendship. This could be like, I need to find one of those friends, or I need to tell a friend something when I get home, or I need to stop hanging out with these friends, or I need to be vulnerable with my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like something around friendship. So it's not about your grandmother or your dog right now. Pray for those later. This is about praying for yourself as a friend, a need that you have. Not even like, one of my friends is going through a really hard time. I want you to pray for your heart as a friend. Does that make sense? Okay, so what we'll do is I'll keep track of time so you don't have to wonder how this works. So the first person will go and you'll share with the other two. Here's what I need prayer for. And then one of you in the group can pray for them. If you both want to say a little prayer, but we're going to give this about a minute. We'll give you 2 minutes each person, okay? 2 minutes each person to share and to pray. Okay, so first person, go ahead and share with your group what you need prayer for today to be encouraged as a friend. then once you've shared it, then if you feel comfortable just putting a hand on their shoulder or head, ask them, is it okay if I put my hand on your shoulder or your head? Feel free to say some words over them, or if you're saying the words silently, if you need to say the words silently, make sure you say the word amen when you're done praying so they know you're not still praying over them. Go ahead and start praying for that first person. When you're done, let the second person have a turn. Go ahead, second person, when you're done. Share with them what you need prayer for. Be as vulnerable as you can. Take those first 2 steps of being honest and vulnerable. Step into that kind of friendship that you desire. Share with your brothers. And then once you've shared, you can pray over the second person.
Discernment video to show. Should I do that before we play? Yeah, I'll do it after. I just need like that to say 2 minutes. So
okay, once you've shared and you've prayed for the second person, go ahead and pray for that third person if you have one. If you don't, if you just have 2 right now, maybe you could pray for a friend that's not here, or for the courage to, help someone else back home, or to be a good friend to one of them. So if you only have 2 and you're done, instead of just waiting this time out, share some prayer intentions for some of your friends in your life. Third person, share what you need prayer for, and then let your partners, your brothers here pray over you. And when you finish, if there's 4 in your group right now, go ahead and make some time for that 4th person. If the 3 of you have finished, go ahead and pray for some friends in your life, some intentions of prayers for your friends in your life. So go ahead and bring your prayer time together to a close. And when you're done, you can stay standing and you can be facing the front again so we know you're done. Stay standing and face the front when you're done. Good job, everybody. The world's changing right now. Love it. Love you guys. You're awesome. I'm encouraged. But we're going to bring, as we bring this to a close, maybe some things come up for you now, like, man, I got some work to do. Or, man, I've got to clear some junk out. Or, man, Lord, I'm ready to just fall into your arms. And as we worship right now together as men, we're just going to bring what we got. We're going to bring whatever that is, whatever came up for you, whatever your action item is, wherever your heart is right now. We're just going to bring that to God. Let's bring that to God right now in worship. Lord, we just invite you to take control of our lives, to build us up like you did your first brothers. Build us up as your brothers. Send us out, Lord, to transform the world one friendship at a time, Lord, because we are friends with you, because you are our friend, because you are our Savior and our God, Lord. We just give you praise, and we come to you with open arms tonight, ready to receive and to give back to you what is yours. Come, Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit.
Yeah, let's just take a moment right here and just close our eyes. You know, it's funny, we'll listen to like any sports coach tell us, you know, what to do, and we listen, and in all of our, raise your hand if you play a sport in here. A couple people. So the funny thing is, like, your sport has guidelines, it has a coach, it has boundaries, has different rules. A friend of mine plays for the 49ers in California, and I asked him, man, can I see your rule book? Like, how many rules are in football? And it's literally a book of 500 pages of rules, you know. And then we look at the Catholic Church and we're like, oh, dude, it's too constricting. There's too many rules, you know. But actually, guys, when we worship as men and when we follow the commandments of the Lord, which He's given us some guidelines, some ways to actually allow us to be free. Because listen, every person in this room, we want to be free. We want to really know what it means to be a man. And Jesus is that figure. He's that person we can look to. And in our friendships, guys, when I left that friend group that was just leading me to sin, I thought my biggest fear was that I'm going to be alone. My biggest fear is, no, I'm not going to have any friends. And my friends I was partying with, you know, we're stoned and drunk together. It's like, bro, we're going to be friends forever. And literally the second I graduated, the second I got caught by the cops and had to go to court, realized I didn't want to live that life anymore, every single one of those friends left. And I thought I was going to be alone. The last 10 years, God has given me an abundance of friendships, Matt being one of them. Like almost too many. I'm not alone. Listen, you're not alone. And listen, some of you are going to have to make some major decisions. Maybe you're not partying. Maybe you're just like indifferent. Maximilian Kolbe said the greatest poison of our generation is indifference. I'm tired of men being indifferent to the gospel. I'm tired of men being indifferent to the dignity of the woman. I'm tired of men being indifferent to the reality that, guess what? No power, no job, no sports scholarship is going to make you happy. I've been with the rich. I've been with the poor. I've been with stars. I've been with all of them. You know what they authentically want? Freedom. I can't tell you the freedom that Matt and I get to experience when I just tell him, like, bro, I'm having a really horrible couple months, which I am. So whatever's going on in your life right now, I really want us to worship right now and be real. I don't want you to be fake. I'm not forcing you to pray. We're not forcing you to be religious. Everyone's religious, dude. The word religion means in the Greek to bind yourself to something. So right now with our eyes closed, I want us to just come as we are. We're going to sing this chorus. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to open up your hands just as a sign of openness. Just like every sport you play, there's better postures and defense and an offense that make you play the game better. I want you to just be open right now. Be hungry for God. So Jesus, we thank you, Lord. You want us to be free. Some of us are afraid that we're going to be alone. God, I thank you that that's not true, and I just reject that lie in the name of Jesus. There's freedom in your friendship, God. There's freedom in friendship with other brothers. Help us man up, God, and stand up for what is good. So we just come as we are to you, Lord, broken, confused, doubting. Wherever we're at, God, you accept us as we are, and you only want us to just grow closer to you, God, to surrender our lives to you, to to stop pretending and putting on a facade like we have it all together. So we just worship you, God. We give you worth. We give you praise. We lay down our burdens. Sing that with me. So lay down your burdens. Lay down your shame. And all who are broken, lift up your face. Oh, wanderer, come home. You're not too far. So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart. Just come as you are. So lay down your burdens, lay down your shame. All who are broken, and all who are broken, lift up your face. Oh, wanderer, come home. You're not too far. So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart. Just come as you are. Lay it down, come on, sing it out. So lay down your burdens, lay down your shame, and all who are broken, lift up your face. Oh, wanderer, come home. You're not too far. So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart. Just come as you are. Just come as you are. 'Cause you're not that far. Just come as you are.
Amen. Have a seat for just a second. So before we leave here, just so you know, at the end here, the ladies are going to join us for like the most epic experience you've ever had in here on the stage. You're going to get to be part of something really cool. Can't wait to share that with you. So the ladies are going to join you in just a second. But before we do, we want to share a quick video with you. And this video is about the priestly discernment program at Franciscan University. So some of you maybe are hoping to go there. Maybe some of you go there now. But this priestly discernment program is where these guys that are discerning priesthood get to live together in friendship and support each other on that journey. I got to hang out with a priest a couple weeks ago at a camp down in Texas who was a product of this. He's a fantastic priest in Dallas, Texas. He went through this program, so I can't wait for you guys to watch this. So while we wait for the video, you know, the great thing about these screens right here is it has a time on here so we don't go over, and they can give us announcements. I just got to share with you. It says on the screen, stall. So I'm letting you on behind the curtain, right? So they're getting it ready. Now it says, good. Here's the video.
And the first word that directly precedes the word courage in Scripture is to take the courage. But we're never really told what to do once we have it. What's the next step? What do we do once we have this courage? And that takes discernment.
Discernment is prayerful decision-making, in which one sits before the Lord and listens to Him in the silence of their own heart, opening themselves up into the way that God mysteriously speaks through prayer.
So the next step in my life was to join the priestly discernment program at Franciscan University, to grow closer to God, to delve deeper into His love and His kindness, to marry the kinds of aspects that He was always trying to show me, to come together with men who were like-minded and wanted to grow in the same way.
There's 4 pillars of formation, things we're working on trying to form. the human aspect, the spiritual, the intellectual, and the pastoral, which is like service. But we used to always say all of those happen in the context of our fraternity, of our brotherhood. We grow to know ourselves better through brotherhood. We grow to know the Lord better through brotherhood. That's where it all happens.
You definitely do not have to know if you are called to be a priest 100% to be in the priesthood discernment program. One of the unique things about the PDP priesthood discernment program is that we're on a normal college campus. We're not sponsored for the most part by diocese or religious orders. We're men who are we want a college experience. We want to be around other people besides just seminarians. And so that's the whole point of the program, is to see if you are called to eventually go on to major seminary or minor seminary if your diocese requires that.
The students in the priesthood discernment program do share life with all the other students here at Franciscan University. While it's true they live together in a residence hall, they also go to classes with the other students. They go to the cafeteria and share friendships with other students there. They can go on mission trips or works of mercy in the local area, helping the poor or needy. They also engage in intramural sports and intercollegiate sports. So the men of the program are fully immersed in Franciscan University's culture and student life.
As men, we're made for battle. We're made to stand up for and defend whatever is good, true, and beautiful, but it's hard to find out what that is. The priestly discernment program for me was an awesome opportunity to stand with other men, to be brothers in this fight together, to do battle, to learn the truth, to get to know Christ, who is goodness itself.
If you're wondering, is God possibly calling me to be a priest, I urge you to put aside any fears or what-ifs. Begin to pray daily, seek spiritual direction, and stay close to Christ in the sacraments, especially in Eucharistic adoration. So if your heart is stirring with thoughts of a vocation, do not be afraid. I extend to you a personal invitation to learn how Franciscan University's priestly discernment program can help you know what God's plan is for you to love Him and serve Him in your life.
Hey, it's been great being with you guys. I feel encouraged already. It's what I notice when we try and go home from here is like, how am I going to share this with my parents and my friends?